What's up? Today we will be talking about Arthur Schopenhauer. So, who exactly is Arthur Schopenhauer? Well, he was born on February 22, 1788, in Poland, or what is now known as Poland. He was born to a successful merchant family. They were very well off. His father was an internationally known merchant, and his mother was very street smart and was also a famous artist. But that doesn't mean that their family was doing very well internally. His father, his father's mental state was rapidly declining, which had a significant effect on his outlook on everything. He had a very bleak outlook, and his relationship with his mother wasn't doing so well either. Despite the family's efforts to force him into a practical career, he decided to be a scholar. He initially took up science and physics, but he later then pursued philosophy under the influence of Plato, Kant, and other Indian mystics. Now let's talk about philosophy, particularly his stance on metaphysics. Schopenhauer's metaphysics was based on Immanuel Kant's system of transcendental idealism. This system essentially posits that although we can know the world as it appears to us, we still cannot perceive the world as it is in itself. To further, Schopenhauer added to Kant's idea by introducing the principle of sufficient reason. That is, that nothing is without a reason for being. Now for his stance in Schopenhauer's book, The Fourfold Root of Sufficient Reason, he posited that all of our representations are connected, according to one of the four manifestations of the principle of sufficient reason, each of which concerns a different class of objects. First, the principle of sufficient reason of becoming, which concerns empirical objects, is explained in terms of causal necessity. Thus, any maternal state... material. Maternal state. First, the principle of sufficient reason of becoming, which concerns empirical objects, is explained in terms of causal necessity. Thus, any material state presupposes a prior state from which it regularly follows. The principle of sufficient reason of knowing, which regards concepts or judgments, explains in terms of logical necessity. If a judgment is to be true, it must have a sufficient ground. Regarding the third branch of the principle, that of space and time, the ground of being is mathematical. Space and time are constituted that all their parts mutually determine one another. Finally, for the principle regarding willing, we require a ground as a motive, which is an inner cause for which is done. Every action presupposes a motive from which it follows by necessity. Now for his late life, but first, a quick fun fact. Schopenhauer owned a series of poodles throughout the later part of his life, naming all of them Atma, the Hindu word for the supreme universal soul from which all other souls arrive. His favorite dog seems to have been a brown poodle that he owned towards the end of his life. Schopenhauer adored this dog above any other person in the world, even bequeathing a considerable sum of money in his will to ensure that the dog would be properly cared for after the philosopher's death. He would die on September 21, 1860, leaving behind a body of work that would soon rise to major influence.
How was the food?
Okay, well, though he was overlooked during his lifetime, Schopenhauer's legacy grew immensely after his death. His ideas profoundly shaped the works of Friedrich Nietzsche, who both admired and rebelled against his pessimism. Freud's theories of the unconscious mind reflected Schopenhauer's emphasis on irrational drives. Today, Schopenhauer stands as a bridge between Western rationalism and Eastern contemplative traditions.